In a dimly lit courtroom packed with journalists, spectators, and family members on the verge of tears, the gavel struck down with a deafening finality. The words hung heavy in the air. Carly Gregg, for your crimes, this court sentences you to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For a brief moment, everything seemed frozen. Carly, just 14 years old, stood still, her pale hands gripping the edge of the defendant's table. She blinked, as if struggling to grasp what had just happened. Her parents' muffled sobs echoed from behind, the surreal reality sinking in. Their child was lost to the system forever. This was not just another court verdict, it was a story that would divide a nation, sparking furious debates about justice, redemption, and the disturbing question, can a child truly be evil? Carly Gregg was no stranger to tragedy. A quiet, unremarkable child, she lived in the small town of Parkridge, one of those sleepy, all-American suburbs where everyone knew each other and front doors were often left unlocked. But on the night of March 15th, everything changed. At precisely 11:27 p.m., a 911 call came in from the house of Carly's best friend, 13-year-old Lila Patterson. The operator could barely comprehend the frantic screams on the other end. It was Lila's mother, Stacy Patterson, begging for help. There's blood everywhere. Carly. I can't. Her voice cracked as she described the unthinkable. Lila, lifeless on the floor, her throat slashed, and Carly standing over her with the knife still in hand. When police arrived, they found Carly curled up in the corner of the room, her clothes soaked in blood. The knife, a kitchen blade from the Patterson household, was placed neatly beside her, as if she had finished some gruesome task. Her expression was eerily calm. What made this case even more haunting was the fact that Carly showed no signs of remorse. During the initial questioning, she gave detectives chillingly detached responses. When asked why she did it, her reply was unsettlingly simple: she made me angry. Psychologists, criminologists, and media pundits soon swarmed the case, attempting to unravel the layers of Carly's psyche. At 14, Carly had no criminal record. She wasn't known to be violent, nor had she shown any signs of aggression before that fatal night. This sudden outburst of brutality was out of character, or so it seemed. But the investigation uncovered a darker side to Carly's life. Diaries, phone messages, and secret chat logs told a story of emotional turmoil. Carly's friendship with Lila had been slowly unraveling. Friends described the two girls as inseparable at first, but cracks had begun to appear in their bond over the past few months. Lila had started hanging out with a new group of friends, leaving Carly feeling abandoned and betrayed. The prosecution argued that Carly's rage boiled over on the night of the murder, leading her to snap. But some experts believed there was more beneath the surface, a sinister undertone that hinted at premeditation. Carly's online search history revealed disturbing patterns. She had been reading about famous murders, child killers, and even browsing forums about how to get away with crime. One search stood out in bold relief: what happens if you kill your best friend? The courtroom became a battleground, not just for Carly's fate, but for the soul of a nation grappling with the morality of sentencing children to life imprisonment. On one side, the prosecution painted Carly as a cold-blooded killer, someone who posed a clear threat to society. This wasn't just a crime of passion, the lead prosecutor argued. Carly planned this murder. She chose her weapon, waited for the right moment, and showed no regret. If we do not hold her accountable, what message are we sending? The defense, however, presented Carly as a broken child, someone trapped in a whirlwind of adolescent emotions that she didn't know how to navigate. Her lawyer pointed to Carly's troubled mental health, emphasizing that the teenager had been battling depression, isolation, and anxiety. A psychiatrist testified that Carly might have experienced a dissociative episode, leading her to commit the crime without fully understanding the consequences. Throughout the trial, Carly remained unsettlingly quiet. She rarely looked up from the table and never once made eye contact with Lila's grieving parents. When asked if she wanted to say anything in her defense, Carly merely shook her head. "I don't have anything to say," she whispered. The courtroom fell into stunned silence as the judge deliberated. Was Carly a monster beyond redemption? Or was she a child in desperate need of help? When the sentence was finally handed down, life imprisonment without parole, the nation erupted. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse, some demanding harsher punishments, while others carried signs reading "Kids deserve a second chance" and "Justice, not revenge." Social media exploded with debates. Some insisted that Carly's punishment was justified. She took a life, she should lose hers. Others argued that sentencing a child to life behind bars was a failure of the justice system. Carly's parents were inconsolable. "She's still our baby," Carly's mother sobbed outside the courtroom. "How do you throw away a child like that? How do you not see that she's just broken?" But Stacy Patterson, Lila's mother, had no sympathy. "She made a choice," she said bitterly. "She killed my baby. I hope she rots in there." As Carly's case slowly faded from the media spotlight, the questions it raised lingered. In the years to come, Carly would become a symbol of the moral dilemma surrounding juvenile justice. Was she born a monster, or did life push her to become one? Could rehabilitation ever be possible, or was she doomed from the start? Some advocates began using Carly's story to push for reform in how the legal system treats juvenile offenders, arguing that life without parole for a child is a punishment that ignores the potential for growth and change. Others, however, pointed to the brutal nature of Lila's murder as evidence that certain crimes are simply unforgivable, regardless of the perpetrator's age. In prison, Carly's life followed a bleak routine. Reports from juvenile correctional officers described her as quiet and withdrawn, a girl who seemed to be fading away behind bars. She rarely spoke to other inmates and showed little interest in educational programs. And yet, there were moments, brief, flickering moments, where Carly seemed to grapple with what she had done. One prison chaplain recalled a haunting conversation with her. "Do you think I'll ever stop seeing her face?" Carly had whispered one night. "Every time I close my eyes, she's right there, staring at me." As Carly Gregg's story continues to reverberate through public consciousness, it forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about justice, punishment, and forgiveness. Do we believe in second chances, even for those who commit unthinkable acts? Or are there some crimes so severe that redemption is impossible? Carly's case challenges us to decide what kind of society we want to be, one that punishes without mercy, or one that dares to hope, even in the darkest of circumstances, that no soul is beyond saving. Time will tell whether Carly's story becomes a cautionary tale about unchecked rage or a spark that ignites meaningful change in the justice system. For now, though, one thing is certain: 2 lives were lost on the night of March 15th, and neither the Gregg family nor the Patterson family will ever be the same again. As the courtroom lights dimmed and the spectators filed out, Carly sat alone in her seat, the weight of a life sentence pressing down on her small frame. Somewhere, in the back of her mind, she wondered if this was how things were always meant to end, or if, somehow, she had missed her chance to be saved.